and welcome to One Voice Live, where we talk about One Voice, what it is, and how it fits into the world of singing. I'm your host, certified One Voice coach and master, Alex Zeto. And today we are doing another singer study. We are studying the singer Linda Ronstadt. And in order to study the singer with me today, I'm being joined again by certified One Voice coach, Jackson Perrin. Jackson!
Oh! Did it work? It worked this time, right?
It did work this time.
Right,
I also helped you out. I waited a little longer. Jackson, you do realize though this means you have to keep this up every time you come up. There has to be a new entry.
I'll come up from the ceiling next time. Make it happen.
Yes, that'll be amazing. So Jackson, I think I told you this before, but I chose this singer today because I had a request from one of my previous students, Danny, and from her father. He wanted a singer from his era. And Linda Ronstadt was one of the ones he offered us. So Scott, if you're watching, this is for you, dude. I hope you enjoy. Shall we dive into our first song?
Let's do it. Well, we haven't told anybody what we're doing yet, have we?
Yeah, singer study. You were preparing for your entrance, but we're doing singer study.
Have we announced the artist though?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness gracious! I'm so sorry. I messed that all up.
You were busy crouching on the floor. That's so good. Okay, so let's dive into one of her most famous tunes, Blue Bayou. Here we go. Yummy. Okay, Jackson, first thoughts off the bat. Go for it.
I love that song too a lot. Did she originate that? Was that her song originally?
I think it was. I don't think she wrote any of her songs, but I think she made Blue Bayou famous. Yeah.
Fun fact, that she had the Eagles were her backup band for a long time. We're backing her up in her band for the longest time before they branched off into their own thing. And I was just listening to that, and underneath it, the composition has a real Eagles vibe to it, which is cool. I wonder if they had any part to do with that. Vocally though, definitely in more of a mid-weight area. Leans over sometimes to a lighter weight as well. I think her vowel choices are gorgeous. They're very they're not true to spoken vowels. It's a little bit more open in the vocal tract. Pretty neutral the entire time, though, in the back of the vocal tract the entire time as well. There's just a freedom to it and a cry, though, that it's just pretty incredible. But what about you? Did you think I got that pretty spot on? Or
I would totally agree. As far as weight, I would say in the higher moments of the song, she leans towards a heavyweight. And then in the lower, especially towards end of phrases, she seems to lean more towards a lighter weight, but it's all still in the middle of the scale weight-wise. And those of you following along, you can hear it by how much air is being restricted or not restricted. The more air you hear, especially on the lower ends, how happy I'd be, you start to hear a little bit more air, and then we know she's leaning more towards a lightweight. And as far as the vocal tract, I completely agree. She has this yelly, cryy quality. And I think so much of that comes from the shaping and distorting the vowels and keeping it more open, so to speak. It's really lovely. It's really beautiful. Volume. What do you think here, Jack? I've never called you Jack. That was so weird.
Medium loud. Not loud as well, back and forth. That's a recording though, as well. I'm assuming.
Yes.
Too, right.
Yeah. This is recorded. Mm-hmm.
It definitely sounded medium volume, quiet at times. Once you get the end of phrases, alongside of going back on the weight, she'd also pull back the volume with that. And then as she went up higher, louder, loud. Not. I wouldn't say. It's hard once again because it's a recording, but I would say it's in just the general loud spectrum.
There was this article I read that was, I think, published in September of 2019. That was an interview with her, and she talks about how when she was really in her prime, there weren't really monitors. Monitors weren't totally a thing, so she would sing on louder when it was live, and she never really knew what she sounded like. But she was so loud because she couldn't hear herself, and she was fighting against all these instruments. So it's really interesting. Later, we listened to a live recording, and she is so much louder, has such a different sound than in these recordings where it's much tamer, a much more medium volume. One more thought I want to add, which is, do you notice the upper epiglottal that comes in when she pops into the chorus?
And the
Yeah,
top notes.
yeah,
Yeah,
just the
definitely. You
tiniest bit.
talked about
Yeah, so upper epiglottal, if you think of Kermit the Frog, a little bit of this, or Christina Aguilera, hey, it's a little bit of this action going on. And it's part of a vocal tract shaping thing that you can do. And Whitney Houston, Natalie and I talked about how she has just a touch of this, and Linda Ronstadt as well, just has a little bit of upper epiglottal that comes in and out on that higher part. Uh,
love that. I love that
anything
so
else that you
much.
noticed, Jackson?
No, I was just kind of leaning into the words because I couldn't really actually understand what she was saying, particularly on the top phrasing.
Mm-hmm.
I really understand any of the words of the chorus, but it's just so incredible. Then she goes back down, and you hear the blue bayou. I'm like, okay, I hear those words. I guess
Yeah.
it's interesting.
Yeah, she's also singing about like a fishing boat and sails afloat, so it's kind of weird words. I had a student work on this before, which is why the only reason I know these words. But yeah, totally. Um, shall we move on to the next one?
Let's do it.
Right, this is another really famous one. You're No Good, and this is another recorded version. The first thing that strikes me when I listen to that recording is she's mostly in middle coordination. Uh,
Mhm.
but that top note is an E flat, which is two notes away from head coordination, which is fairly high. If I wasn't plucking these notes on a piano, I would have never guessed that that was what she was singing. What do you think it is that makes what she's doing sound so easy and low for her?
The vocal tract all the way, 100%. It's just because it's so neutral the entire time, up above. Yeah, and then the vowel choice. It's not say. It's I'm gonna say it again. It's like an vowel the entire time. So it just really mirrors everything underneath it as well. So it doesn't actually, although the pitch goes higher, it doesn't actually sound like she's having to compensate for anything. Whereas sometimes stylistically, people like getting a smaller tract as they go higher.
Mm-hmm.
Some people like getting a larger tract as they go higher. For some people, it helps them sing those notes too. But you have just somebody here that's a perfect example of a professional or like a master of their instrument, that they don't have to do really anything to go up to that E flat at all. It's cool.
Yeah, it's so neat. And just to zoom into this a little bit more, we've talked about this before. I think it was Marchese and I did a deep versus bright sound, talking about the vocal tract shaping. But if I was to sing Amazing Grace, Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound, super neutral. If I extend it, it's going to sound lower, even though I'm going to sing in the exact same pitches. Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound. And same way, for a shorter vocal tract, it's going to sound higher. Amazing Grace. And that's exactly, you hit the nail on the head. The reason why it doesn't sound crazy high is just because she's keeping her vocal tract crazy neutral. Nothing shifting as it goes up to those notes. What else, Jack? Anything else you noticed on that one?
I just think that it's pretty incredible. Like, she has a really good control. She has really good control of that vocal tract. Like words like good or like, things that like really are trouble spots for I mean for me as well as a lot of students I have as well as most singers. Like we have a lot of people that have to change that vowel to more of like a g vowel or anything that gets away from that small tract feeling. And she just has a ton of control on this song, and it just all sounds so even and really relaxed. Even if it sounds raw, it sounds really tensionless, which is interesting.
Yeah.
It's contradicting in a way.
Yeah, there's this control. I totally agree with her oohs and her e vowels that are such trouble spots for so many students and singers in general. There's this control, but there's also that yelly, almost abandon that's happening, which is my favorite combination of things because it's like, ooh, you're hitting all the marks, but you're still giving me what I need artistically and musically as well. Speaking of, let's listen to the live version of this, which I think I more. Speaking of abandon. Yeah.
I would almost say her track is larger in the live version, actually.
Really?
With words like on like words with specifically like good. You know, it's like in the track, you're no good, and that one was you're no good, you're no good, you're no good. It's just a little bit changed in terms of just the back of the track space, and the vowels a little bit different as well. It has a little bit more open instead of
Mm-hmm.
I don't know exactly. Wish I could have articulated exactly what's happening internally, but I just know that the space is much more accentuated in that version.
Yeah. The biggest differences I hear also are I think she's at a much higher volume, uh, and the non-vocal cord textures, the like growl that's coming in. Do you think that's false folds? What do you hear as far as the grit?
I definitely. It's. I don't know if it's a false folds thing. It sounds. What is the word? You're gonna help me out with this. When it's there's multiple places touching on the chords at the
Bye.
same by phonation. That's what it sounds like to me. More than that, I'm not hearing as much as that like secondary grit on there, which is why I'm not. And then also the volume stays pretty consistent with when you have somebody go into false folds. What I normally hear is it almost doubles the amount of sound you have because you have the true folds working along with the false folds, which is then having double vibrations before it even is shaped. So I'm hearing the same amount of volume happening with an accentuated, with like a elongated vocal tract
Mm-hmm.
and then the biphonation. That's what I think. Just theorizing at that point.
Yeah, I'm also hearing the epiglottis, the Cookie Monster sound. So if you do like, "Hi, I'm Batman," or what's the Cookie Monster voice? "I'm Cookie Monster," that thing. Or the other way to get it is Christina Aguilera, the "Hey." Any of those growl options, I think she's using a bit of that on "You know, you're no good, you're no good." Just adding a little bit of that grit through
Totally.
like a lot. Um, it's so yummy to me. And I think this is where it comes in, where she's like, "Yeah, we didn't really have monitors, so I was just screaming and hoping it came out well," which is shocking to me because I feel like when I can't hear myself, my pitch accuracy suffers, my consistency suffers, and she is just like nailing it, like absolute rock star.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts?
I just going off what you said, I can't even agree more because it's a mix of ear and sensation training, right? That really gives us the more control about what we're doing and how we're executing the sound we're making. It's interesting you say that too because there's been a few interviews I've watched of hers, and she always brings up the sound equipment of these like certain clubs that she performs in, actually. So it's interesting. It's obviously that's something that she really holds dear and puts on like these clubs are the places to play because they know how to handle like their equipment and it's
You're
interesting.
right, because she talked about singing in theaters as well, and she said that she loved theaters the most because there was just the way it was set up. Um, that's so interesting. Yeah,
She did the Penzance movie, right? She's in that.
I don't know the answer to that.
She did. I know for a fact she did Pirates of Penzance, but I don't know if she's in the movie or version or not. But that's just another thing about her. It's pretty incredible how many different genres she does. She's also sang with Dolly Parton,
Yeah.
and also Dolly Parton crossover country as well to more pop too. So it's interesting to see. And then that song right there, that actually is not. First of all, it's not original because she didn't write it. But second of all, it's a re-recorded song. It was actually something that was sung a decade before she even sang it. And that's interesting to me as well, that it's like a Motown vibe. So she really has the ability, because of the control of her voice, to just weave in and out of so many different styles. It's
Yeah.
so cool.
She was known as like the queen of taking someone else's song and making it her own and basically like
Really.
outshining everyone else who's ever done it. I just love it. People are obsessed with her. Like every comment I read was just like queen, absolute master, like favorite singer of all time.
Wow.
She has such a huge fan base, which is so great. Um, okay, great. Let's do the last one. Tracks of My Tears. This is another. This pulls back again. Super easy listening kind of vibe. Here we go. Cool. So I chose that one because, first of all, I love that song. That like reminds me of my childhood. But also because that's another great example of her ease and her oo vowels just like not being a thing. They do not get in the way. They don't change weight, creation, volume, anything. It's just so stupid easy for her, which is just amazing. Thoughts, Jackson?
I think it sounded gorgeous. I could not understand anything she just sang on the top, though. I have to say. I was really leaning in. I couldn't hear it or
Oh my
understand.
gosh, that's so funny. I think I just know the words, so I'm just hearing what I already know. But that's
Yeah.
funny that you don't understand what she's saying.
Yeah, I mean, it's you hear people give that mean feedback, not mean. It's just like really strong feedback towards like people like Ariana Grande often.
Oh yeah.
But even more than ever here on the top course, I'm not hearing any of those words until the very end. Tracks of My Tears. I'm like,
I
oh, okay, I heard
I
that. Right.
have to listen again. I'll
Okay.
just give it.
Sweet.
You still don't know?
No, no, I don't. But I do love when she ascends like the whoa, oh. I love the fact that I often associate a riff or any kind of like wail. It's like usually I always go, oh, aim for the same vowel. It's not true. And she's a perfect example of like you take a rule or a guideline and she just goes completely off that route and makes it her own. It's interesting. She's just a fantastic singer,
Yeah.
and it's also really like dead smack in between that heavy and mid weights weight the
Yep.
entire time. Doesn't fluctuate one bit at all on that song in particular.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It's really great. And vocal tract wise, anything different there, or do you think she still pretty much maintains that neutral?
That neutral, I mean, I would say neutral, if not maybe a little bit closer to open vocal tract. It's there's a lot of gradients, obviously, when we're talking about this kind of stuff, but it's definitely more in the neutral, if not a little bit more open track the entire time through. And the vowels, once again, that's partly why I can't understand what she's saying. It's because they're a dramatized version of the word. The only time when she I hear a word is Tracks of My Tears. She actually hits the ears vowels.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Yeah.
So fascinating. Yeah, listening again, I still know what she's saying, but it's because I know the words. So I think
what are the words? Whether it's words at the chorus?
No, I can't. No, I don't. You stop right now. Hold on. Take a good look at my face. You see my smile is out of place. So take a good look at my face. You see my smile is out of place. If you look closer, it's easy to trace the tracks of my tears.
Oh, yeah. Nope. Did not understand any of that. But yes, mic drop. I think you just looked it up. Now you're reading it off the screen, but making me believe that you just remembered.
Oh my god. I have no way to prove, but I'm not. No, for my 10th birthday, I went to Mackinac Island with my family, and there was an a cappella group called Three Men and a Tenor, and they sang this song, and they brought me up on stage to sing with them, and that's when I fell in love with the song.
That's such a sweet story.
Yeah, little tidbit. Yeah, so that's how I know the lyrics, Jackson. That's how I know.
It's cool. So they taught you the lyrics when you were on stage, or you knew the lyrics before you got onto stage?
I bought their CD, and then I learned the lyrics afterwards.
Oh, very cool. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, it was a good time. I peaked at 10. And here we are. Man, she's just, I also just get distracted because it's so easy to listen to her. Yeah, so I'm like, oh yeah, coordination's way, like what's happening? Because she's just so lovely. A few more tidbits about her. She has unfortunately been diagnosed with Parkinson's. That happened, I believe, in 2012. And after that, she was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which a lot of people are like, about time. She deserved this many, many years before. But she's still very much beloved. And I highly recommend reading the interview. I'll post it in the bio of this video. It was really interesting and really cool to hear her point of view even after she can't sing anymore. Yeah. Jackson, any last thoughts about Linda Ronstadt?
No, I'm just so thankful to be here, and thank you so much for having me.
Of course, Jackson, thank you so much. It's so fun to have you on the show. Okay, a few things. My people, please follow us on Instagram and Facebook. You can find us at One Voice. Also subscribe to our channel here so you see all of our lives with amazing coaches like Jackson Perrin. And check out our website, singonevoice.com, if you're interested to know more what we're about or interested in private training. And as always, we're here, One Voice Live, Wednesdays, 6:30 p.m. CT. And next week, I'll be joined by One Voice coach Natalie Rankin, and we're studying the singer. I don't know if you've heard of her, Sarah Bareilles. She's just a little name. Yeah, it's gonna take like 85 years for me to choose a few clips of Sarah Bareilles because I'm completely obsessed with her. So yeah, tune in next week, Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. CT, and we will see you guys then. Jackson, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.